into authentic conversations about ourselves and our community, exploring topics that uplift and inspire us, from personal growth to social change. So grab your teacup and get ready to join the conversation.
Thank you, Chief. I stand before you humbled, shaken, disturbed, literally shaken. I feel like it's an out-of-body experience to be in this situation on a Saturday morning that I was looking forward to enjoying with my kids. But I also have kids that I work with directly and indirectly that I was checking on this morning after waking up, hearing what happened last night during the violence downtown. And it's so sad to see pictures circulating on social media right now of young men laying dead in the street. Who haven't even had a chance yet to experience life. So my phone call or my morning has been filled with checking in on young people that I know, checking in on families. I do not stand before you with a solution. I don't have a magic formula for this issue, but I do stand before you encouraged, motivated to go back home and check on more kids, to affirm young people to hopefully quelch some of the retaliation. That we know might be coming.
Indianapolis over the last 1.5 years. Hundreds of thousands, if not maybe even 1 million people have come through and went back the way they came. Downtown represents about 6% of the total crime every single in our city. We are a big city. This is not a sleepy small town. It's unfortunate when these things happen, and we're all committed to doing our part to help reduce that. Good morning or afternoon. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chief. I stand before you humbled, shaken, disturbed, literally shaken. I feel like it's an out-of-body experience to be in this situation on a Saturday morning that I was looking forward to enjoying with my kids. But I also have kids that I work with directly and indirectly that I was checking on this morning after waking up, hearing what happened last night during the violence downtown. And it's so sad to see pictures circulating on social media right now of young men laying dead in the street who haven't even had a chance yet to experience life. So my phone call or my morning has been filled with checking in on young people that I know, checking in on families. I do not stand before you with a solution. I don't have a magic formula for this issue, but I do stand before you encouraged, motivated to go back home and check on more kids, to affirm young people, to hopefully quell some of the retaliation that we know might be coming for last night's violence. My opinion might be contradictory or in conflict with some other people where they say this is a community problem. No, this is a personal problem. It has to be a personal problem. You have to take this personal. You have to take this personal. We all do our part. We take it personal, we do our part, then we build and bridge the community. But you have to take responsibility as a mom, a dad, a man, a woman, a grandmother, an aunt, a cousin, or uncle. I think we know what's going on in our homes. We know what's going on in our neighborhoods. The unfortunate circumstance, and I do send my full condolences to the families that are now planning funerals and are visiting hospitals this morning. But I know that more people will surround those young men that died at a funeral than surrounded those young men when they were living. That's unfortunate. The work is not going to be solved downtown. We move the needle before the kids come downtown. That's what has to happen. You have to want to go into the communities, the schools that you might feel uncomfortable in. It doesn't start downtown. So the chief, the mayor, the city can put as many checks and balances or barriers and technology as they want downtown. We have to reach the kids before they get downtown. As I'm receiving messages this morning from our young people, they're saying, I'm good, we're good, my people are good. One message that stood out from a young man that was sent to our mentors, he said, I'm straight. That's a small thing to a giant. That's a 15-year-old. That's a direct quote that we received on our mentor thread from a young man. That what happened last night is a small thing to a giant. Our kids are in pain. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing this pain that our kids are in. And we're seeing it manifest itself in a really ugly way. Our kids are hurting. So again, not what is the community going to do, what are you going to do? If you're watching, whether you're watching it now or tomorrow, whenever you see this, what are you going to do? I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'll continue to do. But I need you to adopt two words. I challenge you, I dare you to adopt two words. Mama, grandma, auntie, uncle, daddy, sister, cousin, wherever you at, two words. I need you to say, not mine. That's what I want you to say, not mine. The graveyards will not get mine. The prisons will not get mine. The jails will not get mine. Not my grandson, not my son, not my nephew, not my daughter, my granddaughter. Adopt that, not mine. Social media, not mine. You won't get mine. We can't save the world, but you can damn sure change and save your world, your private world, not mine. So as we move forward as a city and we go through this grieving process, understand our kids are grieving just as much. We have some families that are hurting, but imagine all those kids who saw what they saw last night. Imagine their little brothers, little sisters that have to hear what happened. It's a trickle-down effect. And sometimes we don't understand until it hits your front door. It's now hit your front door. Make it personal. It is now on your doorstep. It is personal. And I will say this. The website is newbreedofyouth.org. Mom, grandma, auntie, uncle, daddy, send your son to me. Send your nephew to me. No capacity. Send them to me. Send them to us. We have collaborative partners we will work with, that we are working with. We have activities for the summer. They want to fight, we got a boxing ring. You want to work out, we got a gym. You want to spit some rap? You want to get in the studio? We got a booth. You want to earn some money? We got a young entrepreneurs program. There's nothing we will not do to make a connection, not only with a young person, but the family. No excuses. My phone number is on the website. My email address is on the website. You can reach out to me directly. There's no 6 degrees of separation with me. 1 degree. And that 1 degree of separation is you. Reach out. If not me, somebody else. There are programs in the city. There are kids doing amazing things in this city, and we have to start highlighting that. Let's start putting that on the news. Let's start highlighting the amazing things that some of these kids are doing. We are sending kids off to college. We are sending kids off to the military. I am frustrated, but I am encouraged. I am motivated to get back to work. And with that, I'll introduce you to my pastor, Mr. Richard Rice.
Thank you, Kareem, for those.
As we just heard, and we're going to wrap up the 4th of July firework mayhem that occurred over the 4th of the July weekend, y'all. There are community resources in your city. Tap in with your local community activists, resource centers, rec centers, go to your local parks, and communicate, instead of all of us so quick to want to turn on our cameras and do the challenges, the twerk things that are going on and all of the fuckery that we are engaging in. Let's get out into the community and get involved, because if not, it's not going to change. Our kids are going to continue to feel as if they're running this ship on their own, and they have no head of households, only on tax time, at tax time, when we claim our kids on our income tax and get that child tax credit. Okay, so get involved. Go and seek out your local community resources. Find something else safe for our children to be doing while we're running around telling each other, you better find something safe to do. Okay, our kids are not doing that. Okay, they are finding the worst things to do, which is pick up a gun and a pooh shiesty mask and kill each other. And as y'all can see, the community leaders are fed up with our children, and they are going to use deadly force against the children to prevent themselves from being hurt, harmed, and murdered, and the rest of the innocent civilization. Okay.
passionate words. I just want to share that as we know, our community is in crisis. This is a crisis situation, and crisis presents us with opportunities. We have an incredible opportunity. If I just add on some of what Kareem said in a slightly different way, we have an opportunity to step up and make a personal investment. We have an opportunity to step up and actually do something ourselves in recognition that this is not an IMPD problem. This is not simply a city of Indianapolis problem. I'll say the same thing Kareem said, but in a different way. It is a community problem, but the community is made up of individuals who do have to make some personal decisions to make a difference. It doesn't matter what zip code you live in. It doesn't matter what your social economic class is. It does not matter what your educational levels are. This is a problem that all of us must face together. We're standing together, united as partners, and our community is in crisis. And I just want to add that, the feeling of sadness and grief that is in the room is palpable. The levels of emotion that Kareem shared, that our mayor shared, that our chief shared are real, and they are felt by everybody in the room, including the media. And so I want you to understand that the care for our community is real. People standing here serving our community are doing so from the bottom of their hearts, out of a desire for our community to be healthy. And we trust that our community will be healthy, but it's going to take healthy people making personal decisions to give back and do something to make a difference. We're in a crisis. And it's not just a social crisis. Truth be told, this is a spiritual crisis. And we cannot just throw social solutions at a spiritual problem and expect to get the kind of results that we want to get. This is spiritual. And if we don't address it spiritually, we'll continue in the cycle. Even with the progress, it's still challenge after challenge. And so I want to challenge the entire community and the faith community in particular to be intentional to pray for the peace of our city. Prayer is not a passive activity. We need people to pray for the peace of our city. We need people to pray for our government officials. We need the people to pray for our community leaders and organizations that are serving on the front lines. Your prayers can and will make a difference. We've got to work in partnership. And parents, I want you to know that you are the most important part of that partnership. I know some of you are feeling overwhelmed. Some of you need help. We know you need help. Reach out and ask for help. Reach out to our organizations. Reach out to our churches. I pastor New Revelation Christian Church. We lead Crown Mentoring Program here in this city. Reach out and ask for help. There are people who have dedicated their lives to helping our community. Get the help that you need. Don't be embarrassed. You know whether or not your child is doing what they're supposed to be doing. You know before anybody else knows whether or not your child is out of control. And if you need help, get the help that you need. Indianapolis is a community that cares. And everyone speaking today cares for our community. Pray for the peace of our city. Let's receive now Pastor Jeffrey Johnson, Jr.
Good afternoon. My heart is broken. I'm devastated. But I also echo Kareem in that I'm also encouraged and motivated. First of all, my prayer goes out to the families that were impacted last night in the shooting. My thoughts and prayers go out to you. I pray that the God of all comfort will comfort you in this time of grief. But the reality is incidents like this will continue to happen. When we defund our schools and our social communities, organizations, when we take away books but leave guns, we leave our children idle to their own devices. And it's not a time to point fingers. I echo the leaders that have already spoken. This is going to be a communal effort. It starts at home, and as Pastor Reynolds has just mentioned, there's help out there and resources for us to connect with in order to ensure that we invest on the front end of our children so that we can ignore the press conferences and funerals on the back end. And it's time for us to invest, whether it's financial, whether it's our time, our energy, whether it's our facilities and churches. As Pastor Reynolds mentioned, this is a spiritual investment that we need to consider in terms of our children. We are leaving too many children out on the streets when there are other resources and options that we can plug our children into. And so, as my co-laborers in this work have already mentioned, we're calling out on every parent. We're calling every uncle, auntie, cousin, friend, mentor, pastor, preacher, leader, community, organization. This is a communal effort that we need to invest in our children so that we can ignore situations like this in the long run. And we've already highlighted Kareem's organization and the work that Pastor Reynolds is doing at his church. And there are countless others like Inner Beauty for our young ladies under construction, Girl Talk Indie. Over at the Eastern Star Church on the east side of Indianapolis, we too have our youth center where we house a summer camp, summer learning labs, even right now. So when we continue to invest in organizations that's already doing the work, we can invest in the future of our front end of our children so that we can ignore the grief and the pain that families are experiencing even right now on the back end. And so I want to continue to encourage the city of Indianapolis, let this be a wake-up call. Let this be a wake-up call for us to wake up, to step up, to continue to do what is necessary so that our children can avoid caskets and graduate from college and walk into careers and make an impact on the community, because we've invested in them now. They'll look back and come back and invest in the future generations. And so again, my prayer and my thoughts go out to the families who are impacted, who are in this moment, this tough moment of grief. But this is a moment for our city to come together, to wake up, and continue to look up for the help and the spirit that we need to make this city a peaceful place that it already is. Thank you.
We'll open it up for questions if you have any.
Mr. Mayor, based on what downtown experienced last night, the past couple of weeks, do you feel that downtown is still a safe place? And what's going to take to convince the merchants who live down there, the residents who live down there, and all the people who've done all this hard work that downtown is still statistically relatively safe?
Yeah, Abdul, the truth is the downtown remains the safest neighborhood in our community. Now, it's marred by events like last night. And what we don't focus on is the progress that not only downtown, but the city as a whole has made in our gun violence reduction strategy. Last night, when this is covered in the news, it's normal for people to say, ipso facto, downtown is not safe. And I think all of us are committed to making sure that when people do come downtown, they can come downtown with the assurance that nothing bad is going to happen to them or any of their family.
Can I just add on to that little bit of that? I mean, look what we've hosted in downtown Indianapolis over the last 2 years, 1.5 years. Hundreds of thousands, if not maybe even 1 million people have come through and went back the way they came. Downtown represents about 6% of the total crime every single year in our city. We are a big city. This is not a sleepy small town. It's unfortunate when these things happen, and we're all committed to doing our part to help reduce that. In my budget as the IMPD chief, we spend a lot of money to make sure downtown is protected and that investment is protected. But we're also responsible for 350 square miles across the entire county, and so we care about every single neighborhood. But as the mayor said, I'm coming downtown tonight with my family, and I'll do it again next weekend if I have to. Downtown is a safe place to be, but after midnight, nothing really good happens, and your kids should not be out after midnight. Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of the timing, just to clarify the curfew, is it still 11 for kids under 15 and then 1, I think, for 15?
Yeah, nothing's changed. We'll get you the exact things after we're done here just to make sure, but nothing in the law has changed.
Mayor, Chief, can you make that tighter? You just said nothing good happens after midnight. Why do we need to have kids out at 1 o'clock anyway? Do you have the authority to make that tighter?
We're operating under the state law. So as we move forward, if there's adjustments that need to be made, we'll work with our attorneys here at OCC and IMPD to see if there's some other adjustment we need to make. If it's a local ordinance, remember, ordinances are you can't; those are not arrestable offenses; those are fines, right? So, and then even as a juvenile, when you take someone into custody for curfew, it's not a crime. It is a status violation. There's no penalty associated with it. That's why I said if and when we move into that direction of increased enforcement, it can't be punitive in nature. It has to be something where there's some sort of positive result of it. Because if it's just about punishment or punishing parents.
So, what do you guys think should be a good curfew for our children under the age of 18 that live at home? Should be off the streets. I say 9:30. 9:30 is just the cusp of things winding really down for a teenager. They really shouldn't need anything past 9:30 to do. They need to be in the house, getting themselves prepared for their laying down, and going to sleep to wake up to see another day, right? Not anything past really, I say 9:30, for a teenager, say like 14 on up, to be outside doing anything, right? Because anything past that time turns into witching hour, right? So I would say a reasonable curfew for a 14 and older teenage child would be 9:30.
We've talked about some of the challenges that they have, then it's ultimately going to fail. That can't be what we do. So it's not a crime to be out after a certain time. It is a status offense, and there's a difference.
Is it time for that to change, Chris?
I don't know that criminalizing it is the answer. We made at least 11 arrests that I know of for criminal violations before this happened. So our officers aren't afraid to make those criminal arrests when necessary. Like I said, I don't see a lot of value in perpetuating juveniles through the criminal justice system. There's very little, in my opinion, help that they get by entering the criminal justice system, and that's not a get. Marion County, it's just a fact of the matter. That's why we are part of a diversion program for low-level offenses of juveniles, so that we can divert someone to the Boys and Girls Club of Indianapolis, so that when they make a mistake as a juvenile, we don't create a future criminal. That we give them opportunities to be better and improve. That's what Kareem's doing. That's what OPHS is doing. That's what the pastors are up here doing. So many others that are doing the work. But in my conversations with Prosecutor Mears, we both agree that there are some people under the age of 18 that just have to go to jail, and those individuals will. Weapons violations, crimes against persons, shooting people, shooting guns into the air, those are individuals that we have to deal with, and we have to deal with them pretty harshly. This prosecutor, our detectives, have not shied away from charging juveniles as adults for the crimes that we are allowed to do. Is it something that anybody enjoys? Absolutely not. But some of our kids act like adults, and they're going to have to be treated like adults.
Have there been any arrests yet?
Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. Do you think it's necessary or possible for like the young, the minors who have guns or committed crimes to hold their parents accountable for some of their crimes going forward?
I failed to mention that in my remarks. It's one of the other conversations that we've had that I'll have with the prosecutors as the days go by. I know these are probably not easy cases, but neglect of a dependent is a potential charge. The contributing to delinquency of a minor is a potential of those charges, but they'll probably be very difficult to make. Those are decisions that are made at the prosecutorial level, not at our level. Something we have to explore in certain circumstances, but as we all said, is it the right thing to do to charge a parent who is working their second job and their kid goes out and comes downtown against their knowledge, jumps on the bus and comes downtown? I don't know that that's the answer in every circumstance. Are there some that are contributory? Absolutely. I lost count of how many adults that I saw pull up downtown last night and just drop 5 or 6 kids off and then drive off into the sunset. I had to go up to cars on the circle where there were parents sitting in the car and say, do you realize what just happened on the circle? You need to get your kids wherever they are, and this was 11:30ish, get them in this car and take them home. 2 different parents as their kids walk around downtown Indianapolis. We can't do that. We just can't do it. You can't be that aloof to what's going on around you.
Chief, were there any arrests and everything?
In the particular shooting case, no, that case remains active. There may have been, I didn't get it confirmed before I walked in here, an arrest related to a firearms charge of one of the juveniles that was taken into custody as part of the investigation, but not necessarily as a shooter. So we're still pulling video. There's video from the Conrad, there's video from Circle Center Mall. We pulled public safety camera video, but that's all still being gone through. The detective is at some point is going to have to get some sleep, but they're working through all that.
Chief, at some point you said you said we heard 20 arrests. Was that just from different things that happened?
Yeah, that was the information going around, maybe additional outside of downtown, but I think that Drew confirmed at least 11 from last night for charges ranging from weapons possession. There were two kids that were arrested for weapons possession. One was 17 years old. He was arrested for dangerous possession of a firearm, resisting obstruction of justice. And there was at least one other kid that I heard was arrested for firearms, but I don't see them. The rest of them were criminal recklessness, probably for shooting fireworks at people, disorderly conduct, and criminal recklessness, battery. We did take a 14-year-old in custody for curfew, but there were also charges related to resisting battery on an officer, and the individual tried to run away, so escape.
We keep talking about kids. Every weekend it's kids at midnight. We hear, I know last weekend there was a big brawl, a group of kids, the weekend before, just after midnight. In years past, we've talked about young adults making bad decisions in their 20s, coming from the club. I have done numerous stories about teenagers, you just said 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds who are making this decision. And I've talked to you enough to know that I know that when you talk about parents needing to step up, that part is genuine. But I work with kids. A lot of these folks up here work with kids. And sorry to say, but the parents today suck. And a lot of them are lousy and are not going to step up with what you are saying. So a couple people have brought up this point. And they've said, whatever time curfew is, midnight, 12:30, whatever. What if you've got all the community organizations that work with the city? I'm talking from the Boys and Girls Club to New Boy to whoever's doing a lock-in. Get these resources downtown and start telling these kids, hey, midnight is curfew. And if at 12:30 you are not out of here, we're going to put you on one of these buses. And I'm not talking about locking people up. I'm talking about finding the parents. We're going to put you on one of these buses. We're going to go to the parking lot of the Community Justice Center, because if we don't pick you up here, there's a chance you're going to come out of here anyway, either at the morgue or from the courthouse. Call your parents. Your parents are going to pick you up here, because you were saying you were seeing them dropped off. Well, when they come pick them up, you're going to find out, why is your 14-year-old out here at 1:30 in the morning? And the goal is to find the parent, not trying to lock the kid up.
Yeah.
But some way we have to get the parents, and I hear your passion. We could say it at midnight, where are your children? We know where your children are. But could you get, and if you say, well, that's going to be a lot of resources, that's why we got these community organizations, Boys and Girls Clubs, Simpson School, resource officers down for school districts who might know these kids and say, you either get your parent on the phone or you're going to spend the night here, because the alternative is you've got 7 kids who are coming out of a hospital, 2 that'll be coming out of a morgue, and countless others that of young people, young adults who are going to come out of the community justice system anyway. So it's either we take care of this in the parking lot before you have to come out of one of these buildings.
Well, I mean, I think it's what the mayor and I both said, that over the coming days we're going to work with our community partners to try to figure out something exactly that path.
We'll take one last question.
Yep.
You said there's going to be increased police presence downtown through Indiana State Police and IMPD as well. Could you just be a little bit more specific about the numbers for those? And where
Yeah, I mean, it's going to fluctuate. So last night there was an event, which was a very successful event. Families, people came downtown. They watched the fireworks. After the fireworks over, they left. The individuals that we dealt with all night were not interested in watching the fireworks. So there was increased staffing downtown. On a regular Saturday night or Friday night, we run what's called special event teams downtown, usually 2 or 3 of those. We have to make sure those are filled. Our officers are working a lot of overtime and have for a considerable amount of time. So getting people to voluntarily work those overtime shifts is getting more and more difficult. So since Chief Wally's working with the both divisions, both operations and investigations, to make sure everybody in our department knows this is an all skate. For events, all these things, it's not just going to be on the backs of our operations uniform officers. We're going to get detectives out. We're going to get administrative personnel out into the field so we can make sure that that downtown in every neighborhood, because if something happens down here, significant like that, then we have to draw resources from every other neighborhood. And that's not fair to those neighborhoods. But this is where the people are, you're right. I said it last night on TV. You want to engage with the kids. You want to try to protect them. I'm telling you where they are on Friday and Saturday nights. I told you where they are. They're not going to your gym right now. They're not going to play basketball on Friday nights. They're downtown for multiple reasons. You want to engage with them, come on down. I'll work with you. I'll tell you where they're at. I'll share information. I'll give you the incident commander's number. You can communicate with us all night long.
Mr. Mayor, any final word for the public that may be worried, may still be concerned?
Well, I think that the collection of community leaders is a good sign that we're all committed to eradicating. Why a young person walks around downtown with a gun. What is a young person doing in downtown Indianapolis at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning? Those are rhetorical questions that we're going to collectively try to answer. As a follow-up, though, I want to make it clear, while we focus a lot on juveniles, and obviously today has been all about what occurred last night to largely 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds. But the truth is also, in the city of Indianapolis, the number of both criminal homicides and non-fatal shootings occur between the ages of 30 and 34. Without question, that is the age category. So I understand why a young person being shot downtown generates an enormous amount of enthusiasm. But we also, collectively as a city, are dealing with a gun-related problem that almost irresponsibly occurs among older young people, 30, 35 years old. That's where the numbers exist.
But Mayor, does the city have as the city, state, whoever, we're talking about kids. Those adults are a different story. We're talking about kids who don't have the same rights as us. Doesn't somebody have to say this is a particular problem because they're just kids?
Well, that's what we've been saying. That's what every speaker today has underscored. And while this is a sad day for so many reasons, it is a day of hope. It is a day of new beginnings. And I think we just have to collectively commit to that.
Thank you, everybody.
That's going to conclude our coverage over the 4th of July. Fun-filled fireworks turning into fuckery and people using gunshots as a way, fireworks as a way to cover up the actual fact that they were putting on a display of gunfire. So I hope that you guys are protecting your peace over your family. Please pray over your family. Faith is null and void without works. So please work on it inside your family. That way, when you go out into the community, it'll spread. Okay. Thank you guys for watching Tanisha Talks Teas. Until next time, stay sipping and safe. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Remember to show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing. It's a blessing. Keep your teacups filled and ready for my next upload. Until then, stay inspired and remember, always stay sipping.